We kick things off with the shot of a game called Hunter Life. Our hero is a nerd in glasses, and he tells us that this game was supposed to be released 2 years ago. But it's been on hold, just like a Kanye West album. The status of the game is open beta, but with not a lot of features, our nerd boy wonders if this is worth a shot. Either way, he can try out the open beta mode for free, so he goes ahead with it. Now, the main character is shown with a whole lot of skills that seem to align with men of culture. He is handsome, he inspires girls to protect him, he is a womanizer with gigolo skills, and most importantly, he is the prodigy of shady activities. This means that his elephant has unlimited stamina and can also copy moves from his partners to further improve performance. Now, we see what the main character looks like, and his name is revealed to be Kento. He is a demon race male who is 15 years old and has all the shady unique skills a man could ask for. Our hero is asked to start the game, so he proceeds without hesitation. Upon doing this, the system tells Kento that it will summon him to a different world. Naturally, this is not what our hero expected to see, but it's too late as a massive flash of light takes over the screen and transports him to the fantasy world of Grimoire. Kento looks around and can only see forest greenery everywhere. He is not the nerdy boy we saw earlier either, as he is looking exactly like the main character from the game. As our hero tries to figure out what he's doing in a forest, he remembers that he was actually playing a game in his bedroom before this. He realizes that he is in a different world now, just like he's seen in anime and manga. Kento is still trying to wrap his head around what's going on, and then he notices a small screen in his vision. It doesn't take long for us to guess that this is a stats bar, which means the standard tropes of summoning have already begun. Kento is led to believe that this is virtual reality on steroids, but we all know that is not the case. Our hero still believes that the wonders of technology have reached new heights, especially with the realistic stats bar. Upon reviewing the details, Kento figures his character has the same stats which he had put in back in the real world, but he does not know if he is currently weak or strong. After a bit more reviewing of his current situation, Kento deduces that he is very much lost right now. The map isn't showing him any town or other kind of information, so he wonders if he should follow the sole black path in front of him. Kento's throat is dry and he's feeling hungry, but is unable to log out, so he blames it all on the developers of the game. Suddenly, he hears some grass noises behind him and looks back, but is only marginally able to dodge a deadly attack that takes out some trees right behind him. Kento is confused, so he looks ahead and to his surprise, there is a giant praying mantis in front of him. Our hero tries his best to dodge the mantis, but gets cornered by the huge monster. He gets injured in the process, so he looks up at the mantis and notices that it is observing him keenly. The monster even smiles back at Kento with a shady expression, which means Kento is in trouble. He wants to run, but his leg is hurt badly, so he is very much trapped. The mantis lands another strike, but seemingly misses on purpose to taunt him. Kento thinks fast and realizes that since this is a game, he will be able to check out his stats for damage. He does exactly that and observes that he has lost some of his HP. If this isn't bad enough, the mantis reveals itself to have the powers of teleportation, and it appears right behind Kento. Things are not looking good for our hero, as he gets trapped by the monster which is not listening to any of his pleas. The mantis prepares for a final strike, so Kento wonders if he will be able to log out of the game if his life is ended here. However, he remembers the impact of the damage he took earlier, and the pain was too real for him to consider this as a standard VR game. The mantis strikes again but misses this time as well, although it is successful enough to make Kento literally piss his pants. The monster gets closer now, and this time, it doesn't look like it's messing around, so Kento braces for cover. However, at this very moment, the mantis gets slashed by someone else and is taken down in front of Kento. As our hero notices what has happened, he hears a voice asking him if he is all right. Our hero can't believe what he is seeing as a total babe in knight armor is standing right in front of him. She is cute, curvy, and her massive pillows are well displayed by her armor. So Kento is somewhat speechless. The girl asks what's wrong because Kento is looking at her weirdly, but she also states that he's lucky to be alive. After all, the silver mantis he was being attacked by is considered to be extremely dangerous. Kento wants to thank the girl properly, but he seems to be struggling with something, so she asks him if all is well. Our hero has been injured by the mantis, so the girl decides to use her healing power on him. She holds his face and chants a spell that magically heals all his wounds. Kento can't believe that his body isn't hurting anymore, but the girl laughs because it's quite obvious when healing magic is used. She is surprised that Kento doesn't know anything about magic, but he says that it's great to have such powers. The girl maintains that the spell she used was an easy one, so he shouldn't get too impressed. Kento realizes that this girl has saved his life from the mantis, so he wonders if she is a playing character or a non-playing character. He decides to introduce himself to the girl, and then he asks if she is a player. The girl reveals her name to be Miliaria, but she does not seem to know what a player is. Kento brushes it off as nothing, but he figures that Mili might be a non-playing character. She has horns and wings, so Kento asks her if they are real or just Halloween props. Mili calls him weird because it's obvious these things are real. After all, she is a succubus girl, also known as a dream demon. She's surprised once again that Kento is not familiar with her race, so he apologizes for not being aware. Now, Mili takes a look at the pea patch on our hero's pants and says that something needs to be done about it. This is obviously embarrassing for Kento, but it can't be helped, so he is taken to a beautiful lake with cold water. As Kento enjoys himself in this lake, he takes out his control panel, which has been beeping for a long time. The bar displays an increasing friendship with Miliaria, and it eventually turns favorable, although this confuses our hero a bit. These increases and the word favorable don't seem to strike a chord for Kento, so he wonders what this could mean. Plus, it's hard for a cute and curvy girl to look favorable at a man who has just soiled himself after looking at a giant insect. Kento is not sure if this is some kind of power from the skills he had chosen for his character. Anyway, Kento has to wash his clothes now, so he gets down to business. Our hero happily goes through the water, but then he runs into Mili, who is also in the water with him and is in her birthday suit. Kento can't understand what she is doing here, but she says that she only wants to take a bath as well. She teases Kento for being shy, but actually finds this to be very cute of him. The succubus girl has had enough of playing around, so she grabs our hero and asks him if he would like to act out his intrusive thoughts with her. Any normal man would pounce on this opportunity, but Kento removes himself from her pillows and asks her to be more modest. Mili acts cute and strikes a pose, asking our hero to take a bath properly, but Kento tries to run away as he is almost done with his own bath. However, Mili is not going to let him go away so easily, which is why she grabs his hand and holds him close. She says that Kento's elephant definitely feels like he wants to stay here, so she suggests doing unspeakable things right now. Mili can sense that our hero is untouched, so she tells him that he can call her his older stepsister. Instead of giving in to temptation, Kento says that he is not untouched, but Mili doesn't seem to believe him. She continues to use her succubus charm to have our hero violate her, but Kento manages to defeat his intrusive thoughts and he runs away from her. Kento says that such things should only be done if they know each other, but he seems to have forgotten that this isn't the 18th century anymore. Either way, he rushes off to wash his clothes and proves to us that he is indeed untouched. Mili can't believe how serious our hero is, and then we see Kento checking out his stats bar. He can see that his handsome skill has been triggered multiple times, and this has led to Mili slowly falling in love with him. Our hero is in shock and disbelief over the sheer power of his skills, But then he remembers that he is quite hungry. Since he does not know how to log out of the game, he figures he will need to put in an effort for food now. Kento finds some nuts, so he decides to chew on these nuts. Later, Mili also shares her food with our hero, but he feels bad for being such an imposition on her. Mili doesn't mind because she has fallen in love with Kento, but then she asks him an important question. He is in the Darvis Forest right now, so for a teenager like him to come here all by himself is hard to believe. Kento doesn't want to reveal a lot to the succubus girl, so he says that he found himself in the forest after waking up. This leads Mili to wonder if he was kidnapped, and then she asks him where he lives. She says that Kento's parents must be worried about him, but he says that his mom and dad had passed away a while ago. He also reveals that he comes from a place called Japan, but Mili only focuses on the fact that Kento shares Batman's origin story. She then comments that she has never heard of a village called Japan, even though she has traveled across the continent. Seeing Mili's behavior makes our hero even more certain that she is not a player. Kento finally comes to terms with the fact that he has been summoned to another world. And if Mili is the first person he has met here, then she will be important for his mission. He asks the succubus girl if he can find a nearby road, but he also mentions that he's a bit scared of venturing out on his own because of his earlier session with the giant Mantis. Mili says that she does not mind accompanying him, and this makes Kento happy. As a matter of fact, the succubus girl also has to go to a place called the Abyss Veena, so she can take Kento till this city. Our hero thanks Mili once again, but he keeps referring to her as Miliaria, so she tells him she will only help under one condition. Basically, she wants him to call her Mili, which is actually not a very big condition. Kento is then told that it would be better if he called her his elder stepsister as well, so he turns on Alabama mode. This causes Mili to blush, and it makes Kento realize that she is indeed very cute. He tells Mili to take care of him from now on, and she calls him a good boy. Since it's dangerous to travel at night, it would be better for them to set up camp over here itself. And Mili asks Kento to keep an eye on the fire. As the succubus girl prepares the tent, our hero notices in his control panel that his protection skill has been triggered, and Mili has surely fallen in love with him now. Their friendship has also turned into favor now, which means that Kento is no longer in the friend zone. Our hero figures that certain skills may only be triggered upon reaching certain levels of relationships with girls, but with the rate at which Mili has fallen in love with him, Kento is wielding some dangerous skills. Now, we move to the nighttime where our hero is trying to get some sleep, but is unable to do so because his body is extremely hot. He has been heated up almost as if he is being cooked in boiling hot water. Then his elephant awakens, which means that the heat is of a very specific kind. Mili walks into the tent after hearing all the moans of pain in order to check up on her lover boy. Our hero tells her not to come inside, otherwise he might just do the same thing to her. He wants her to go away, but Mili notices the nut shells that are next to Kento. That's when we learn that these nuts are actually a fruit called Totona. Basically, if you end up eating a lot of this fruit, then you will not be able to control your libido. Mili holds her lover boy close to her, and this is what it takes for him to awaken the beast within. Kento tries to call out to her, but she says that things always turn out this way whenever she is involved. Now, Kento abandons his inhibitions and pins Mili down on the ground. He has awakened the diddler and tells her that he is currently the lowest scum on the planet. Since his inner beast has come out, Kento proceeds to violate Mili with passion. However, the succubus girl does not have a problem with this, as she had made the first move earlier. She tells our hero that he can do whatever he wants to her, so the additional license fuels his actions even further. What follows is a full range of shady activities that cannot be described, but after the multiple explosions, Mili seems to feel bad. She says sorry and asks for forgiveness, after which she reveals that she had taken the life of her first ever love. After that, she became Abyss Veena's strongest monster hunter, and earned herself the nickname of Iron Maiden, like the band. She then thinks back to what she told Kento while using her charm on him because she was actually afraid deep down inside. Now that she has crossed the line yet again, she could lose another person important to her. This hints at the fact that Millie's kitty may have a fatal effect on elephants, and she is the succubus version of a black widow spider. The next day, Millie gets ready for her journey, but then she notices that Kento is still on the ground and not waking up. Her black widow kitty could have struck again. So Millie rushes to her lover boy and holds him close to her pillows. The succubus girl apologizes profusely and laments that she has once again taken the life of a man she loved. Luckily for her, it's going to take a lot more than a cursed kitty to take down our hero. Kento opens his eyes, and Millie is shocked to see that he is still alive after the unspeakable things they did the previous night. Our hero has no idea what's going on, but upon remembering his diddler axe, he says sorry to Millie. Of course, the succubus girl is just happy to see him still in front of her, and she has tears in her eyes. This also comes as a kind of sudden realization to her, so she decides to explain her race to our hero. Kento is told that dream demons like Millie renew their life energy by gaining the elephant water of young men. This is done through a method known as fertilization, also called various other things, mostly starting with the word F. Now, Millie reveals that the succubus girls have a law stating that they must faithfully serve those who remain alive after doing shady things with them. So, as per her law, Millie submits herself to Kento as his eternal slave, and also reveals her full name to be Miliaria Black Dagger. Since her rules are absolute, Millie asks Kento to forgive her for having a cursed kitty, and also begs him to take care of her as his new slave girl. All this talk of laws and rules may be a bit too much for our hero to handle, but Millie is not backing away. She proudly declares that she will devote her entire life to Kento as his friend, partner, family, and lover. She also presents an actual black dagger to him as a mark of her loyalty. A moment on the lips follows, and then our hero checks out his control panel to learn that Millie is now deeply in a state of slave love with him. Now it's time to meet more people, so Millie takes Kento to the Hunter Guild where people are enjoying their drinks. The succubus girl explains that the first floor has the tavern and the guild's reception desk, whereas the second floor is an inn and hunter shop for the buying and selling of materials. Since this is a meeting place for all kinds of monster hunters, our hero is thrilled to see so many races together at the same place. Millie asks our hero to wait at a table while she finishes up with her business, so Kento takes a look at some of the patrons. One of them has multiple hands, which he did not think was possible, but then again, that's the wonder of the game. The important thing is that Kento has been able to escape the deadly forest with the help of his slave girl, and now he is in a fortified city. Of course, Kento still needs to figure a way to log out of this game, otherwise he'll be stuck here forever. In the middle of these deep thoughts, our hero does not realize that a cute and extremely curvy barmaid is asking him for his order. Considering the size of her pillows, Kento's intrusive thoughts immediately kick in. The barmaid says that the bill is on Millie, so he can order for whatever he likes. If he had free reign, then Kento would have probably ordered for those milkers, but he must control his emotions, so he takes a look at the menu. However, he is not able to read any of the text because he is not from this world. Kento decides to take the safe way out, so he asks the maid girl what she would suggest for this joint. She takes a moment and then recommends the sautéed fin fish along with the tomato beef stew. The only thing our hero wants to dive in right now are those pillows, so he decides to go ahead and place the order for her recommendations. The barmaid is happy to hear this, and she introduces herself as Feria, but she also seems to know Kento's name. He wonders how that is, but then realizes that Millie must have revealed it to Feria. All of a sudden, Feria comes with some fruit juice and offers it on the house to Kento. She also whispers that she will continue to fawn over him, which can only mean one thing. Kento checks his control panel to confirm that even Feria has fallen prey to his handsome skill. His protection skill has also been triggered as the barmaid has brought him free juice. Our hero worries that his skills will get him into all kinds of trouble if it's so easy for him to land such babes. It's all fun and games for now because both Millie and Feria are 10s, but if the situation extends to Granny's or Drake's favorite age range, then Kento is definitely cooked. Now, Feria comes with the meal and advises caution because it's really hot. She offers to blow on it, but this is enough for Millie to show up and treat Feria with rage. Obviously, she does not want anyone else talking to her lover boy, so she confronts Feria rather directly. The succubus girl asks Kento if he is all right, but she also refers to Feria as a shady cow milk demon, which is definitely not polite. Millie accuses Feria of trying to honey trap her lover boy, and this draws a lot of unwanted attention to the table. Kento doesn't want any unnecessary trouble, so he tells Millie that he had simply ordered for a meal and nothing else. Everyone falls silent now because they have just realized that Kento is a human. Feria is also a human, so she can't believe our hero has managed to land someone like Millie already. Kento is way too young to be doing shady things, so Feria rethinks all her decisions unless she wants Kendrick Lamar to come for her too. Now, the barmaid shifts all her attention to Millie because she knows that the slave girl has been able to do shady things with Kento. She wants to know all the details, including how our hero's elephant performs, to which Millie blushes and says that her master is like a wild beast when he unleashes his true form. Feria can't believe that a boy with a face like Kento's would be able to awaken a savage beast from within. Of course, our hero is not too comfortable having such a chat, so she asks Millie to take it easy now. She apologizes for getting carried away, and then she tells everyone else that they should not try to approach her master. She particularly attacks Feria again by calling her a cow milk demon, but the barmaid is not going to back off so easily. She also wants Kento badly, but Millie says that everything is fair in love and war, so she will not hand her lover boy over. With that, everyone is asked to disperse, and then we shift to Millie's house, which is more like a mansion. Kento is extremely impressed by it, but Millie reveals that since she is a monster hunter throughout the year, she only uses this house to sleep once in a while. Kento decides to take a look at his slave girl's stats and is shocked to learn that she is actually one of the VIP beings of this world. Now, it's time to learn more about the mansion. So Millie reveals that before Kento came into her life, she was living here with her maid. The maid is a woman who is 35 years old, and she was the one who taught Millie how to cook. The name of this maid is Annabella, and Millie calls out to her to come and meet her. The maid arrives, but Kento is shocked to see how amazing she looks despite her age. Annabella could easily pass for a college girl judging by her face, but the focus is on our hero, so she asks if he is Millie's guest. The slave girl reveals that Kento is not her guest, but rather her master now. This comes as a huge shock to Annabella, who immediately apologizes to our hero for her casual behavior. It's no big deal to him, so Annabella offers a brief introduction of herself. She states that if Kento is Millie's master, then this house is as good as his. The maid girl offers to take our hero to his room and also prepare a drink for him while Millie unpacks all her luggage. Kento is taken to his room now, and Annabella offers him some crimson tea leaf. The maid girl brings some snacks as well, which are absolutely delicious. Kento compliments Annabella for her skills, and she blushes instantly. She offers some more snacks to him, and then she asks if he has actually become Millie's master. Our hero confirms this, but it only leads Annabella to confirm that he has done shady things with the succubus girl. This is not what Kento wants to deal with, so he tries to avoid the subject while also remembering what Feria asked him. Of course, he's not going to be let off so easily, as Annabella then asks him if he has shady skills which he needs to perform daily in order to keep his body fit and active. The maid girl now asks our hero if a person with shady skills is required to do shady activities every single day. The reason she is asking this is because an old acquaintance of hers had the same skill. Now, Annabella asks Kento what happened during his first time with Millie, but our hero feels shame for having unleashed his intrusive monster upon her. If the skill cannot be controlled, then Kento may just repeat it again. Now, our hero contemplates whether it was the fruit or his shady skills that turned him into the diddler the previous night. After all, if he continues to diddle Millie every night, then she might not be able to keep up with him. Now, Annabella tells Kento that she will do her best to please him as well. This may seem random, but it's basically our hero's skills coming to the fore again. The maid girl says that Millie is a succubus girl, so her body is made for shady activities. However, even though Annabella has her limitations, she will do everything in her power to keep Kento's elephant calm. Our hero's intrusive thoughts awaken again, but he needs to behave, so he tells the maid girl he already has a slave for that. However, Annabella says that it's fine because if he is Millie's master, then he becomes her master as well. The maid girl is simply looking at this as a duty she must perform, and then she closes in on Kento. He is not sure how he should react, but then Annabella asks him if her old body is not good enough for him. Of course, if Kento was serious, then he would have immediately hopped on to a mommy body, but in this case as well, he is giving in to the dark side. At this very moment, Millie enters the room after changing into her clothes, which look a bit modern. Annabella tells her that something is wrong, so she needs to come here fast. The girls have a talk about Kento acting like a sissy, and then Millie starts thinking of a solution. Her father and mother were a pair, but then again, the chief of the village had multiple slave girls serving him at the same time. Millie is confused and she can't even ask for the help of the Succubus assassination squad. So she tells Annabella that they will serve Kento together as he is their one true master. Now, the girls gang up on our hero and tell him that night service is a daily routine which he cannot escape from. He gets a bit nervous and asks if he gets a say in this, to which both the girls resoundingly say no. Now that they have decided how they are going to deal with their new master, the girls take him to the bath. The girls begin to wash Kento, and it's a dream come true for all the single lads watching this video. The girls use their soft and giant pillows as sponges for Kento, and it drives him crazy. What follows is the dirtiest bath anyone can take, and then we shift to the bedroom where both Millie and Annabella are awaiting their master. They wear alluring attire to suit the occasion, and Kento's inner diddler instantly takes over his body. The succubus girl realizes that she was being too selfish in trying to keep Kento to herself. After all, she will not be able to protect him just by herself, so sharing him with Annabella is the correct decision. Things get crazier by the second as Millie and Annabella tell their master to turn their kitties into his exclusive territory. Once again, what happens next simply cannot be put into words, so we shift to after the intense explosions where both Millie and Annabella are resting. Meanwhile, Kento checks his control panel yet again and notices that Annabella has quickly not just fallen in love with him, but has reached the slave girl category, all within one shady session. The control panel does state that the maid girl is very happy to be in this position, but since the diddler has gone away, Kento does feel bad about a widow turning into his shady slave girl. At the same time, though, he realizes that the girls are also helping him because his shady skills might erode his body if he does not get a daily dose of violation. The next day, things are a bit awkward between Kento and his slave girls, probably because he is a bit embarrassed of the unspeakable things he had done to them in the night. Now, Millie gets called to her magic guild, so Kento follows after her, but he suddenly gets attacked by a random blast. Our hero is able to avoid the damage, but he does not understand where this rage is coming from. It's a girl who is extremely angry with him, and she charges at Kento, stating that she is going to turn him into charcoal. As Kento tries to catch his breath from evading a lethal attack, the girl continues to charge at him because he has violated her big sister in the most unspeakable ways imaginable. She can't believe that someone like our hero is now the owner of a babe like Millie, so she once again states that she will turn him into charcoal. Millie holds the girl back and asks her to calm down, also revealing her name to be Rina. After Rina does manage to cool down, Millie explains to Kento that she is a researcher at the Magic Guild. Rina seems to be just as shady as Kento, as she also plays with Millie's pillows the same way he did the previous night. Of course, the succubus girl smacks her for being extra weird, and then she tells her to introduce herself properly to her master. She has no choice, so she arrogantly states her name to be Rina Doman, who is of the Rakshasa race. She also happens to be within Drake's age range, but we'll save that topic for another lawsuit. Now, Millie asks Rina to help them find some information on the Shady Prodigy skill. That's when Rina realizes that our hero is actually a lost person, meaning he is not from this world. The three of them sit in Rina's office as she tells them about her research on jobs and skills. As a matter of fact, she has just used the character judgment skill on Kento, so she knows he has skills such as handsome and protection. This can only mean one thing, which is that he is from another world. The reason she knows this is because Kento's skills are unique, but Millie does not understand what this means, so she asks for more clarity. Rina states that unique skills are unlocked based on job levels, so it is weird for someone like Kento to have 4 unique skills despite not having a good job level. When an exception is born, they are blessed with gifts, which is what has happened with our hero. Rina further states that if Kento is a boy from this world, then he should have been born at least with 1 job. This makes the succubus girl panic, so she holds her master and asks if he indeed does not have a single job. At first, she had thought that Kento was a villager, but he does not have a certificate of identification. This leads her to speculate if jobless people do exist in this world, but Rina states that there is no such thing as a jobless person who is born here. This finally makes Kento accept the fact that he is not in a virtual reality game called Hunter Life, but rather he has indeed been summoned to another world. Now he knows why he is unable to log out, but he needs more information, so he asks Rina if she knows anything about Hunter Life. She says that she had seen this term before in the diary of the previous lost person who was summoned to this world. However, this was several hundred years ago, so it raises questions about the nature of the game. Anyway, Kento loses his patience, so he grabs Rina and asks her what else the diary said. She is a bit uncomfortable, but she understands the urgency, so she states how the previous person was also stuck here for years and had no idea how to log out of the game. Kento gets the shocker of his life because this proves he is not the only person who was transported here via Hunter Life. He asks Rina what happened to the owner of the diary, and she states that he went on to live his entire life over here, and he also started his own family. Millie notices that the look on her master's face has changed, and he has become a bit disappointed over learning this. She asks him what happened, but he brushes it off as initial shock. As our hero continues to lament his current situation of being summoned into another world, Rina tells Millie that she will save her from this shady devil who will only continue to violate her body. The alternative is to turn our hero to charcoal right now, but he isn't that depressed just yet. Kento casually tells Millie that they should leave because Rina is busy, but that is just an excuse to escape the crazy kitty. Kento still looks a bit down, so Millie talks to him, but he is only thinking about whether he has passed away in his original world. Maybe his entire body was summoned here, and not just his soul, but then Millie hugs him from behind to offer some warmth and comfort. She says that she will always be with him, so she will ensure that he remains protected. This makes our hero feel a bit better, so he thanks Millie for being so supportive. He then realizes that since both his parents passed away, He doesn't really have any close friends or relatives back in his original world. Over here, though, he has Millie and Annabella, both of whom are 10s. Now, the couple comes across a statue, so Kento asks Millie on whom it is based. She states that the statue is of a man named Orphebor, who is not just the founder of magic, but also the first ever demon lord of the Demon Kingdom. The Magician Guild is the sacred place of worship for the Demon Lord as well. The ones who have inherited the blood of Orphebor are called Shinma, and are marked by their black hair, black eyes, and black skin. These are essentially purebreds who are known as the black-colored species, although that kind of term would not go down well in the modern world. Now, there's another place Millie would like to visit, so Kento gets curious. Millie states that if her master is to live in this world, then he will need a certificate of identification. These documents are issued at the Lord's mansion, so that is where the couple needs to head. However, Millie is not too keen to visit the mansion, and she does not reveal the reason for her hesitation. Now, the duo enters the Lord's mansion and meet the one who governs this land, Arbalest. He asks Kento if he is the owner of the Succubus Black Dagger, to which our hero confirms it. He tries to be polite in front of Arba, but the Lord is shocked to learn that Kento indeed has the dagger. He gives our hero an evil look and then asks Millie if she has actually entrusted the Black Dagger to Kento. She says that there is no one else she could entrust her dagger to, and this leads Kento to wonder if it is really such a big deal to possess it. Of course, Arba loses his mind and states that the one who owns the Black Dagger is essentially the husband of the girl who has given it to him. Normally, this dagger would be possessed by the Demon Lord, but for now, it is with Kento. Arba refuses to recognize our hero as Millie's spouse, but she says that she has already dropped out of the race to become the Demon Lord's bride. As a matter of fact, this has also been approved by the current Demon Lord named Sifa. Arba is not ready to let this go, but the Succubus girl says that she wants the discussion on this topic to end right now. Kento only just learns that the Black Dagger is proof of being the Demon Lord's bride, and he had no idea that his slave girl was a top candidate for it. Suddenly, Millie tells her lover boy to watch out as a blade comes for him, but it stops right before it can touch our hero. The blade was presented by Arba himself, who has multiple arms, and he confirms once again that Millie's husband's name is Kento. He then says that he is willing to forget everything right now, but only if Kento withdraws from being Millie's master. This presents a tough situation for him as well as his slave girl, but our hero musters up all his courage and refuses to do so. He states that he may not have any talent or anything, but he will never break his promise, especially one made to a babe as curvy as Millie. This makes the Succubus girl blush even more, and then a knight shows up to tell Arba to stop with his silly jokes. The Lord puts his sword back into its sheath and lauds Kento for not even flinching despite having such a deadly weapon pointed at him. He then says that such an act of defiance is suited to someone worthy of being Millie's master. Of course, he meant this in jest, but the Succubus girl does not feel the same way, so she scolds Arba while also revealing that he is her uncle. She draws her weapon, so Arba asks her if she is really going to end her own uncle, but then she says it's his personality that makes her want to avoid coming here. However, Kento will not be given a certificate of identification unless he meets with Arba, which is why this meeting was necessary. In the middle of all this, the only thing that comes to Kento's mind is the fact that a lord such as Arba is Millie's uncle. The Lord then says that he only wanted to test the man who was able to become the master of his niece. This is because the people who possess the shady prodigy skill are usually very cruel and suspicious. However, Kento is quite different and tough as compared to them. Our hero jokes that he was simply scared to the point where he could not move, but then he asks if Millie was actually chosen to become a Demon Lord's bride. Arba confirms that what he said is indeed true, and the current Demon Lord Sifa got rejected by Millie quite brutally. The Succubus girl feels shy, so she asks her uncle not to say weird things to Kento as he is her master after all. Once again, Kento wants to confirm that the one who possesses the Black Dagger is the bride of the Demon Lord. And Arba is glad that a boy like Kento has been able to catch on so quickly. As far as the current Demon Lord is concerned, it seems that he too has found himself a bride, so there is no need for conflict. Millie tries to reassure her master that she was only a former candidate to become the Demon Lord's bride, and nothing has actually happened between them. Anyway, Arba states that he will now issue a certificate of identification to Kento. He summons a seal with all his hands and states that he will now carry out a ritual of registration. He presents an authorization stone to Kento and tells him to touch it. Our hero's stats show up, but Arba is surprised to see that he is jobless. The Lord wonders if his device is broken, but if he came to Earth, he'd probably have a heart attack after seeing how many jobless people exist. Millie tells him that Kento is a lost person, which means that he is from another world. Arba can't believe that his niece has gone for a boy who is outside the logic of this world. But Kento maintains that he has decided he is going to live in this world and make it his own. The Lord is pleased to see the spirit our hero possesses, so he recognizes Kento as a resident of this world. With that, he sends a blast at Kento, and it reveals a red card on the top of his hand. Arba is shocked to see a red card, because he has never come across it before, and the same goes for Millie. Kento sees that he has gotten the job of citizen, and as an adjustment, his physical strength has been slightly increased. Kento is just happy to have become a citizen, and he looks at Millie happily. The succubus girl is also pleased by this development, so she tells her master they should go back home. Now, we move back to Millie's mansion where she and her master are inside her library. It looks like Millie is teaching her master the language of this world and how to write it. Kento struggles for a bit, but is slowly able to catch up with the pace. Millie is shocked that her master has been able to master Western language so easily, even though he has only just started with his lessons. Our hero states that some of the letters are the same as the ones from his original world, as they resemble the Roman alphabet. Millie can't resist her urges anymore, so she gets close to her lover boy and gets a nice whiff of his scent. She wants to know if he is fine with shady acts on a regular basis now, to which he says yes. The succubus girl is particularly happy with the way Kento openly refused Arba in front of her, as his bravery clearly made her kitty gush. Our hero says that he only stated what he truly felt at the time, and this leads to some romance building. On that note, Millie cosplays as a naughty sensei and tells her master to role play with her. Such an exciting prospect would make any man of culture lose his mind, and Kento is no different as he charges at his slave girl with a passion. Now that he is going to live here forever, our hero figures that he should put in some more effort and become stronger so that he can protect Millie, not the other way around. This is his reality now, and he must adjust to it as soon as possible. Now, we move to Rina, who is teaching Kento about the authorization stone, but as usual, she is being mean to him and mocking him for not being able to grasp her concepts at the right pace. Her methods are definitely scary to our hero, but he is thankful that Rina is at least tutoring him after Millie's insistence. After some effort, Kento gets all the answers right, so Rina decides it's time to move on to the jobs. She explains that the residents of this world are always born with a job, and they are classified under villagers, citizens, nobles, and royalty. However, these are basic jobs, and a person can add a regular job to their profile based on their abilities. There are general sections such as being a maid, farmer, or secretary, and then there are battle jobs such as magicians and warriors. Rina confirms that Kento has a red identification card, and she states that there are 4 other colors: black, green, blue, and purple. There are restrictions on the number of jobs a person can have based on these colors, but red is the exception as it comes without any limits. The vast majority of the people in this land have black cards, which means they can only get up to 3 jobs max essentially. Our hero may consider himself to be useless, but he actually has the cheat ability to acquire everything he wants. Kento is glad to hear this, but Rina reminds him that if he does not put in any effort, then there is no point thinking about the cheat card. Now, Kento learns that apart from him, there are only 2 other people who have the red card. She does not reveal the names though, and moves on to the skills. They are divided into 3 categories, namely adjustment skill, battle skill, and general skill. There are certain requirements to activate these skills as well, and this is when Kento remembers what happened when Millie got done with her lessons. Our hero had experienced something similar to what Rina is saying, as his document-making skill got unlocked after he learned Western language properly. He got some skill points from this and tried to distribute them, so Rina says that she is done with her lessons. Then we learn that the only reason she agreed to teach Kento was because Millie offered to let her grab her pillows in exchange for it. As Rina laughs with a shady tone, Kento notices that he has grown to level 10 as a citizen and has gained more skill points. On that note, he enables document creation, and then we shift to Annabella, who states that dinner is ready. She asks Rina to join them in the feast, and she happily accepts because she will get to be with Millie and her massive pillows. The group enjoys their meal, but Rina ends up having a lot of booze and she again scolds Kento for becoming Millie's master. Annabella tells her that she has had way too much to drink, but Rina is not in the mood to have that discussion. She has always loved Millie, whom she always refers to as Oni-sama, and then Kento suddenly sees some fire sparks emanating from her body. Naturally, he panics, but then Annabella explains that Rina has an illness called the spontaneous fireball syndrome. This means that she starts shooting out fireballs when she becomes highly emotional. This is bad news for our hero, so he needs to be careful moving forward. However, Rina is drunk right now, so he will not be spared tonight. She suddenly grabs Kento out of frustration, but she can be seen blushing, so our hero calls her out. That's when she instantly becomes very conscious and starts to panic, prompting Kento to ask her if she is okay. Rina tells him to shut up, so our hero feels it's the booze talking. She maintains that is not the case, and attacks him with a fireball. Nobody has enough time to react to this, not even our hero, so he takes a direct hit with full impact. Millie rushes to his aid, but he is barely holding on to dear life. The succubus girl uses her healing magic on her master, but the damage has already been done, so he does not wake up instantly. Millie begs him to open his eyes as she holds his head close to her soft pillows. Annabella rushes to the scene with a change of clothes and tends to her master along with Millie. Rina feels really bad about what she has just done, as she did not mean to do something so lethal. After a bit of a struggle, Kento does manage to open up his eyes, so both Annabella and Millie are thrilled to see their master alive and well. Our hero does not know what has happened, so he is told that he was about to lose his life just now. Rina feels even worse, so she drops to the ground and begs for forgiveness. She even says that she will pay as much as she can for the damage settlement, but this is not some lawsuit from a TV drama. Millie tells Rina that she does not care for any money settlement because she is going to execute her for the attempted assassination of the Black Dagger household's master. Rina is obviously shocked to hear this, but Kento is even more surprised by this revelation. He then turns to Millie and asks her not to do such a brutal thing because he is still alive and properly healed now. Of course, the succubus girl does not agree with this kind of behavior, so she tells her master that he can't be so kind all the time. She then turns to Rina and tells her that she should be eternally grateful to Kento for his kindness. Now, Millie takes out her blade and gives Rina a choice between 2 things. She can either become a slave girl for our hero, or she can have her head flying over the place for attempted assassination. This leads to a shady party between Kento and his 3 slave girls. Lots of shady things follow, but Rina gets shocked the most when our hero hugs her because of how cute she was looking. Of course, this makes her very emotional, but the fireball disappears into a magical pendant she is wearing on her neck. In order to understand this, we are taken to a brief flashback where we see the pendant being offered to Kento by Millie. It is called Kuma's pendant and has the ability to seal a magician's magic. She then puts this pendant on Rina to make sure her sudden fire attacks don't threaten her master anymore. With this, our hero can finally stay in peace around Rina, and the best part is that the person wearing the pendant will not be able to take it off by themselves. Now, we move back to the bath where Kento asks Millie if Rina has done enough to be forgiven. However, his slave girl tells him that he's being way too kind to the girl who almost took his life. She then states that her master has the power to either free Rina or take her life right now. Tensions rise, but then Annabella shows up to get everyone in the warm water. The bath is nice, but there's an awkward silence, so our hero randomly says that hot baths are the best. Rina then asks him if he is really so against the idea of her being a love slave. Kento says that he's not against the idea, but if Rina doesn't want to do this, then she should not have to do it. After all, the diddler only awakens during desperate times. Rina calls our hero a fool because if she doesn't do shady things with him, then Millie will take her life. However, the more important thing is that Rina finally admits it's not as if she does not like Kento. Since this is her first time, all she asks is for him to be gentle with her. Annabella is pleased to see this, and she admits that things would indeed be tough if only she and Millie were tending to their master's elephant. Once again, Kento asks Rina if she is fine with this, and she agrees with passion. Millie is also fine with it, but she warns Rina that if she attacks her master again, there will be no second chances. With that, she officially forgives Rina and they hug out of joy and relief. Now, it's time to get down to business, but our hero makes sure that his other girls are also there to guide Rina through the process. What follows is a series of explosions for Rina, so she falls asleep right after. Upon waking up later though, she notices that her master is already getting shady with Millie. She peeps in on the fun, but after Millie explodes, Kento decides to punish Rina for being a naughty girl. Another shady session follows, and she gets even more intense explosions. After pleasing all his slave girls, Kento takes a look at his control panel and notices that his man of culture skill has gone up to level 4. Our hero realizes that he needs to level up on the other jobs as well, because the authorization stone felt funny to him earlier. At first, he notices that Rina has become hostile, so he wonders if his skill even worked, but then he checks the rest of the log and sees Rina also turning into the slave in love situation. This is when he figures that his handsome skill had truly activated back when Rina had held him by the collar. After all, she was blushing at the time, and even Kento was looking at her with intrusive thoughts. Now that our hero Kento has realized that his skills are most effective only when he has some affection towards his target, he is going to approach things very differently. Essentially, the friendship level and affection level will increase along with his handsome skill level. So, when a girl's affection level starts to increase for Kento, she will provide him with funds and goods with the desire for protection skill. After this is done, the target will finally offer her curvy body to him. After doing shady things with the target, Kento's lady killer skill will activate and the girl's affection will turn into deep affection. At this rate, she will slowly become devoted to our hero, just like a slave. Plus, with his prodigy skill, our hero can do shady things for as many times and as long as he wants. That's when he suddenly realizes that the last 2 steps are basically an infinite loop of shoddiness for him. If this is the case, Kento is in essence an enemy of women because he is practically brainwashing them with his skill to become his shady slaves. Of course, this would normally be a dream come true for most men of culture, but Kento has had enough fun to finally start feeling guilty about it. After all, nothing hits harder than post-nut clarity. Kento figures his skill is something that women will not be able to escape, and if he does not keep it in check, then his harem will become an unlimited amount of curvy babes. Once again, There is nothing wrong with having unlimited girls, but Kento does not want to turn into a human resource manager, so he must do something to control it. The next morning, he wakes up feeling a flat table, but it only happens to be Rina, who is feeling a bit shy because of her lover boy's shoddiness. Kento realizes he's making it weird, so he says sorry to Rina, but she tells him that he is the only one whom she is allowed to touch her. This is why she wants him to be gentle with her, and she also states that Kento is the only person she considers special. This touching speech actually makes our hero emotional, so he hugs Rina out of care and concern. Now, he asks Rina something very important which relates to whether skills can be sealed in this world. Rina does not understand why Kento is saying such a thing, but she does admit it's possible to do so. Kento then asks Rina if it is possible to seal the handsome skill, and this gets her thinking. Rina figures that the handsome skill is an adjustment type skill, which means that it can definitely be sealed off, but only with the help of magical tools. However, she wants to know why her lover boy wants to seal off that skill. This is when Kento explains his theory on how the skill works. He reveals that the skill will only activate if he has some kind of fondness towards his target women. This comes as a surprise to Rina, but then Kento goes on to reveal that his skill combo is effectively an endless loop of shoddiness. This means that he can have any woman he wants without having to face any kind of resistance. So, unless he seals off the skill, the number of female targets will just continue to increase without any limits. Rina understands what Kento is saying, but this also leads her to believe that she is a woman whom Kento likes, which was why she also got sucked into his spell. Upon realizing the truth, Rina admits that our hero is indeed an enemy of women, which he clearly does not seem to like. However, Rina also says that she understands his situation, and as long as they are able to seal the handsome skill with magical tools, they will be fine. Our hero asks her if she has any idea as to where they can get these tools, so she says that she can try to find an item store in the magician town. She will contact Kento if she finds something, but before Rina can finish her sentence, her lover boy sneaks in a little kiss on her cheek. He then says that he will be going with Rina, so it would be better for them both to have some breakfast before heading out. Rina can't stop blushing, but she does agree to go with Kento. As she gets ready, Kento realizes that he must also reveal the truth to both Millie and Annabelle. He wonders if they will hate him after learning the truth, because no one in their right minds would want to lose such curvy babes. Having said that, Kento is ready even if they decide to hurl a wave of insults at him for using his skill in such a shady manner. He does admit that even if he does tell these girls the truth, it will not change the fact that he actually likes them. Now, we shift to the town side where there are lots of people walking around. Rina, Millie, Annabelle, and Kento find themselves in front of a magic tool shop, which is known as Veena Company. It is known for selling a whole variety of items, so it would make sense to check it out. Our hero then tells us that he had actually revealed the truth to Annabelle and Millie right after breakfast. In a brief flashback, we see Kento apologizing to the girls after telling them that he had managed to do shady things to them after using his skill. Luckily for him, Millie holds his hands and says that she still loves him no matter what, and it is not because of some fancy skill. Annabelle also states that she only lives to serve Millie and her owner, Kento. Now, we're back to the present where our hero and his harem have come to find the magic tools. Kento feels that the girls still love him because of his skill, but he is still grateful that they do not harbor any ill intentions towards him. Now, the team meets the owner of the store named Hector. He states that Veena Company is the #1 provider of assorted magical tools, and the smile on his face is no different from a shady businessman. He says that he is truly grateful to Black Dagger-sama and Doman-sama for visiting him, but there is not much clarity on why he uses these terms. He asks if there is something the team needs, and then Kento states he is looking for a tool which can seal the handsome skill. Hearing this comes as a huge shock to Hector, probably because he too might be a man of culture. He states that even if there is a tool which can seal the handsome skill, it would be extremely rare in existence, that too with such a unique skill in question. Kento knows exactly how this game is played, so he decides to leave after saying he knew he would not be able to find anything good in this store. Naturally, this awakens business mode within Hector, who tells our hero the Vittoria Company is real, and the sign outside his shop is not a fake. He proceeds to unleash his secret move, Ultimate Search, and goes through all of his belongings in the shop. After a bit of a struggle, Hector is able to find the gender change ring, which does exactly what it sounds like. Hector explains that if Kento were to become a woman after wearing this ring, then the rules of the handsome skill would not apply to him. It seems like a good enough idea to our hero, so he tries it on and turns into an extremely cute and curvy babe. Kento can't get enough of his new soft pillows, but his appearance seems to have awakened the shady demon resting within Hector. He suggests going to a different room and talking about business, so Kento immediately takes off the ring as he realizes he would much rather be the pole and not the hole. Our hero says that the gender change ring is no longer an option, and he wishes to check out the other tools. Hector realizes that he let his shady demon take over his body again, but now he has to show something new, so he brings out the hallucination glasses. This product was made for people who had an extreme fear of women, known as gynophobia. These glasses make everyone except a specified person look like a man to the person wearing it. Kento can't believe what he is hearing, but he decides to give the glasses a test run. We can see Millie checking out a rotating bed, and Annabelle suggests using something like this next to the bathroom. Kento puts on the glasses and notices that Annabelle is now looking like a man, which is exactly what Hector had said. Our hero declares that if he continues to use these glasses, then he will not have to worry about liking anyone other than his 3 harem girls. Kento goes to the girls and tells them that he will now be suppressing his handsome skill with the help of his hallucination glasses. Millie is surprised to see how a pair of glasses will make women look like men, but Rina says that this whole mess could have been avoided if Kento could simply control his intrusive thoughts and his urge to like any cute girl that crosses his path. Annabelle jokes by asking Rina if she genuinely believes her lover boy to be capable of such a thing. It might be a burn, but at least Kento has gotten what he needed. Rina asks Hector for the price of these glasses, and he says that he would charge 3 pieces of gold coins and 3 large pieces of silver coins for them. Sounds like a lot, but when Millie asks Annabelle if the price is right, she says yes. Millie then tells Hector she would like to purchase it, which makes him extremely happy. The group does not even require any packaging for the item, and Hector does not have a problem with that either. After leaving the shop, Kento sets his glasses to make sure everyone looks normally. Rina says that they should still test the glasses to see if the handsome skill has really been sealed off. However, the girls have no idea on whom they should be testing the glasses. That's when Kento realizes that there is a certain girl on whom he can test his new glasses, and she also happens to already be affected by the handsome skill. The whole team goes to a bar that's overflowing with people, and then we learn that the girl in question is none other than Feria, who has massive pillows. Kento asks Rina to do what she does best, and she laments that she has no other choice, given the circumstances. She then rushes towards Feria and tells her that she needs to fondle her giant pillows to keep a track of her growth record. Feria gets embarrassed as she does not want to hear such shady things inside a public place. Kento puts on his glasses and decides to display the log when the time is ripe. In the meantime, Millie decides to go and check up on some requests which can be completed quickly. Kento takes a look at his stats screen and realizes that the preparation is indeed complete. Since Feria has already been affected by the handsome skill, so it's a good chance for Kento to learn whether his hallucination glasses will worm on someone who has already been affected by his skill. If that is the case, then one look is all it takes to fall in love with him, and nothing can be done about it. Kento asks Feria for the menu even as Rina fondles her pillows, and she is delighted to see him here. She also comments on how Annabelle has made an appearance, to which the maid girl explains how her master had suggested eating out today, and not the bedroom kind. Feria smiles at our hero and asks him if he's come here to meet her, which hints that the glasses are not really working despite Rina's shoddiness. Kento tries to brush it off by saying the food here is great, so he wanted to come and eat. Feria then suggests choosing the food for our hero today, which he confirms after asking Annabelle if she is fine with it. However, at this very moment, his stat screen pops up and reveals something that our hero had feared right from the start. His stat bar shows him that Felia's friendship level towards him has greatly increased, which can only mean one thing. His handsome skill has been activated. And with this, Kento finally gets confirmation on his skill being immune to magical objects once it has made its mark on a target. Since it is already too late for Feria to be spared, she might end up doing lewd things in public to please him. Keeping this in mind, Kento decides he might as well make her a voluntary target, and then he switches off his magic glasses. Now he can see Feria as a girl, and confirms his order with her. After the bar girl leaves, Annabelle asks Kento how it went. He reveals that the glasses are useless when it comes to someone who has already been infected by his charm. Instead of getting upset, Annabelle says that they should now hire Feria as a service employee in the mansion. It happens to be perfect timing too, as she was looking for a new maid to join her. Our hero is not too sure about this plan, but then Rina asks him if he is really fine with leaving Feria in such a delicate and vulnerable state. Kento knows that even if he leaves now, he will not be able to stop all the other levels of desire that will slowly control Feria. He can't leave her like this all by herself, so hiring her is indeed the only viable option. At this very moment, Millie shows up and asks how things went with the cow pillow girl, which is passive-aggressive as always. Kento explains the situation to her, but instead of getting jealous, Millie also says that it can't be helped and she might as well hire Feria as Kento's service employee. Our hero is glad to see that the girls are thinking with a clear mind, and then Feria shows up with the food. She says that it's still hot, so they should be careful, but there's something that needs to be said to her, which will be a lot hotter. Kento tells her that he loves her, which naturally makes her blush like crazy. She asks him why he is suddenly confessing his love for her. And then Kento's screen also pops up with multiple updates confirming that Feria has indeed now fallen in love with him. Kento then says that he wants Felia's body, but she is too shy to speak right now. She asks him why he is asking her out when he already has Millie to serve him, but then Millie says that he is her master and she is his property, so nothing can be done about it. Plus, she has no issue with it anyway as she is from the Succubus race, which is known for living with multiple partners. Annabelle adds that she has been looking for a new maid as well, so the timing couldn't be better. If Feria joins them now, then they will double her wage too, which is a great deal. Rina cuts the bull and gets to straight talk by telling Feria everyone knows she's already in love with Kento. Once again, the bar girl tries to resist, but Rina says that her massive pillows will come in handy during night duty. Kento doesn't want this to become a talk about shady acts only, so he holds Felia's hand and asks her to become his maid. As expected, this makes her extremely shy and the blushing just can't stop. She is overwhelmed by her emotions and says that it can't be helped if Kento is being so insistent. She also says that she would like to be hired as his maid, so the task has been accomplished. The stat screen tells Kento that Feria has officially become his slave girl, so he laments that he has added yet another victim to his harem. He promises to take care of Feria, and then he whispers into her ear that even though there is a lot to be done, he will be making her do something else tonight. She blushes once again and agrees to come see him in the evening. Rina lets out an evil laugh and says that with everything settled here, they finally have a new star for tonight's shady scenes. Kento asks her if she is also going to be staying in the mansion tonight, but this offends Rina. After all, she gave Kento her flower, and he is still trying to kick her out of the mansion. She wants to have her room prepared, so our hero can only look to Annabelle for support. The maid girl says that there are plenty of rooms in the mansion for guests, and she will be able to arrange one for Rina as well. It's time to talk business now, so the team goes to the manager of the bar and they mention what they want to do with Feria. Naturally, this surprises the manager, but then Millie and Annabelle decide to do their thing. They mention that they've come here as headhunters and want to hire Feria as their new maid. The manager is in a bit of a bind over here, because on the one hand, she can't refuse Millie as she is from the Black Dagger family, but on the other hand, she will need to hire someone to replace Feria immediately. Annabelle says that they can also pay for the transfer fee, and this seems to get the manager thinking. She says that instead of paying the transfer fee, maybe she can have Millie take care of an important request which has just come in. Millie is not too keen on getting tied into a contract because she wants to take care of Kento as well. The manager says that this request will not really take up too much of her time as it is not something people would usually ask from an S-rank adventurer. As a matter of fact, this is almost like a defective request, so Millie asks for the details. The manager explains that the monsters have been acting strange lately, which brings her to the Feria fortress where there is a village of goblin species. The inhabitants of this village have been turned into monsters, so there is a request to completely destroy it before it becomes a nest for savage beasts. There are around 500 monsters in the area, but the reward is only 1 gold coin. Millie also agrees that it's a lot of trouble for such a small reward, and there's also the fact that goblins are quite troublesome to deal with. The manager asks if the succubus girl would like to accept the quest, but she says that she doesn't really want to. However, she also needs Feria to join her, so she takes it up for her sake. She tells the manager to prepare a map for her right away, and she will take care of everything within 3 days. She asks Rina for support, but she is not too keen on that as she wanted to do shady things with Kento tonight. Millie tells her master that she and Rina will return after 3 days to properly service him, which is the most beautiful thing any man of culture can hear from a cute and curvy babe. Millie leaves our hero in the care of Annabelle and Feria, and then she drags Rina along with her, despite the flat screen girl crying to be let go. The manager is just glad to have gotten rid of an unfair request that nobody else wanted to accept. Even Feria is relieved to see this, as she too was wondering what was going to happen to this case. Kento can only watch from behind as he realizes that the manager is the one gaining the most from this trade. Now we move to the mansion, where Felia is amazed to see how wealthy the Succubus family is. She relishes the opportunity to eat together with everyone while also having her own spacious room. Annabelle asks if Feria is done with the prep, and then she takes her into the bathroom for the most important task of the day. Feria is once again shocked to see how spacious the bathroom is, and then she notices her lover boy already taking a bath inside. She calls out to him, and then Kento sits in the middle of Annabelle and Feria. A man of culture obviously will not shy away from staring at God's great work, and Feria notices this. Our hero teases Feria a bit, causing her to become even shyer. A little bit of pinching and shrieking follows, but this causes Annabelle to get jealous. She asks if her curvy pillows aren't enough for Kento, but then he says that even her body is great. This makes her feel better, so she tells Kento it's time to go to the wash place. Feria is also told to come along, which she does at once. She is then told to use her entire curviness to wash her new master, and then she gives a live demo in front of her. Feria is then told to use her pillows on Kento's elephant, so she assumes a rather striking position. This is going to be a dream come true for our hero, so he does not waste any time at all. Annabelle guides Feria by telling her she may feel odd at first, but she should still go ahead with it. What follows is a range of shady movements that eventually lead to the elephant water being launched right onto Felia's face. Now, it's Annabelle's turn to enjoy Kento's elephant trunk, and he tells her to unleash the beast within. The shoddiness continues in front of Feria till yet another explosion occurs. Feria is shocked by what she sees, but then Annabelle explains that this is how she should service her master. Of course, she's a bit shy, so Kento says that he will take the lead here. Annabelle also lands an assist, which means that Feria is getting the best of both worlds. There's way too much happening for her to deal with, but all she knows is that it feels amazing. It's now time to take her flower, so our hero goes in for the decisive strike. The deflowering is making Feria way too excited, so Kento says that he will make her his personal possession. That may not be very progressive, but Feria doesn't seem to have a problem with it. This leads to yet another massive explosion, and it concludes the proceedings for the day. Our hero is glad to have had yet another ethereal experience, and then he checks his stat screen to see that his level has increased from 4 to 5. He has also acquired 1 skill point and has managed to unlock a service skill. Kento becomes curious, so he decides to check out what kind of skill this is. The stat bar shows that the skill is a general one which can control the subject's libido. However, this will also consume 5 skill points, which sounds like a lot. It's also the first time that Kento has heard of something known as a libido point. Since this can help him control his libido, he wonders if it will also help him suppress the beast within. Anyway, once he is able to master this skill, he will be able to ease the burden on his harem girls too. With this, he officially accepts libido control and says that he is going to be counting on it a lot to help him navigate his way through this world. Now, it's time to see Feria trying out her new outfit as Kento's maid girl. This also includes training armor which our hero is made to wear, but not the other girls. Of course, since fighting and super strength are not among his skills in this life, he is having a hard time supporting all the weight that's on him right now. Annabelle takes a look at her master and asks him if he needs some rest. Kento asks her if she is feeling tired herself, to which she says yes, but also states that running around in training clothes is not as bad as having to clean an entire mansion. Now, Feria calls out to her lover boy, asking him to wait for her, as the outfit she is wearing is quite tight, as can be seen in her pillow region. As a matter of fact, her soft pillows have started to hurt, but the trainer for this session is telling all of them to continue running without any rest. He would rather see them puke some blood out than take it easy for now. The trainees do as they're told, but Kento is having an even harder time because he's the only one out of the 3 who's wearing an armor plate. Even so, the trainer tells Kento that he needs to pick up the pace as he's slowing down a bit too much. Now, we all must be wondering how it came to this, so it's time for a quick recap to the other day at the Hunters Guild. Here, Kento looks a bit distracted, so the girls ask him what's wrong. He says that his eyes have caught on to the blackboard which has an ad for a hunter training school. Our hero wants to know what that would be like, so the girls tell him that this school is mainly for learning the basics of lower basic job combat. That actually sounds quite low to Kento, so Rina explains that in this world, there are titles such as warrior, hunter, swordsman, scout, magician, healer, and handgunner. The hunter training school will allow you to become any of those, apart from a magician or healer. This makes sense to our hero, and then Feria asks for the color of his ID card. However, the color is quite suspicious to Feria, and rightly so, because her master is not from this world. That's when Annabelle holds onto her mouth and tells her not to talk about Kento's ID card color. If this happens to get leaked under any circumstance, then it could lead to Felia's execution by Lord Heidu himself. Feria does as she's told, and comments that there is no issue for Kento to acquire new skills. Our hero, on the other hand, is a bit clueless, especially after Feria says she's quite worried because the color of her card is green. Now that it has come to his attention, Kento decides to check out all the stats of his girls, starting with the bar girl. Feria is 18 years old, thankfully, with nothing much to say, apart from the fact that she is a level 12 waitress and a level 18 citizen. Her frame is green, so Kento feels that it could signify being a normal person. Rina then states that calling Feria normal because of a green card is not very reassuring, because her pillows are nowhere close to normal size. Now, it's time to have a look at Rina's card, and her age is shown to be sweet 16, just how Drake likes it. Her stats are great, as she is a level 20 magician, a level 45 researcher, and a level 16 citizen. She has general skills, adjustment skills, and battle skills too. Looking at Annabelle is a bit odd because she is 35 years old, although she has the body of a 20-year-old. She also happens to be a demon girl with multiple titles. She is a level 23 dancer, a level 35 night lady, a level 50 maid, a level 38 chef, and a level 35 citizen. She has tons of general skills because of her job as a maid, and from the looks of it, Annabelle is perfect waifu material. Kento notices that both Rina and Annabelle have blue ID cards, probably because of their titles. Either way, Annabelle realizes that some preparations will need to be made if her master is to join the Hunter's training school. Millie says that there are some job openings right now for battle hunters. These titles include Monster Hunter, Soldier for the Royal Arm, and Bodyguard. However, Millie can't allow her master to take any of those 3 jobs because if he does so, then he will be risking his life every single time he sets out to work. She can't have that happening to Kento, so she won't allow him to work at all. Rina offers a better suggestion, which would be to join as a researcher or guild member. If our hero takes the magic aptitude test and passes, then he could become a magician or a healer. However, there is no way of knowing if Kento actually has any magical powers. Since he is a lost person from another world, there is a high chance that he won't have any powers like this at all. Kento really needs to figure out if he actually has any powers in this world or not, but judging from what the girls are saying, it looks highly unlikely. As of now, all he can do is change the topic and ask his babes to focus on him entering the Hunter's training school. Millie is scared for her lover boy because she does not want him to harm himself during this training. Rina tells her Oni-sama that she is being way too protective of Kento, but she states that carelessness and pride always bring the worst possible results. Kento is asked what kind of job he wishes to acquire, and he says warrior rather instantly. The other girls also want to enroll into the hunting school now because they too wish to take on battle jobs. Now, we come back to the training sequence where the mentor tells the groups to pair up into teams split into offense and defense. They are to fight each other now. The trainer tells Kento that even though he is wearing armor, he will still feel the pain of getting hit by a wooden sword. If he has a shield, then he should look carefully at his opponent and deflect the attack with it. The trainer wants to show the team how it's done, so he asks Kento to step forward for a demonstration. He orders our hero to come at him with all his might, and also states that there is no need to hold back. He also tells Kento to hold the sword properly with both his hands, probably like how he likes to hold Annabelle's and Felia's pillows too. Our hero prepares his pose, and in his mind, he is ready to pay back the instructor for his scary attitude from before. We are given a brief flashback of how the trainer spooked the living daylights out of Kento by questioning his manhood, and also making him do squats as punishment for not listening to his instructions. Kento now charges at the trainer and tells him not to blame him if he gets hurt. Of course, the trainer already knows what's going to happen as he sees our hero come at him recklessly. All he has to do is slightly lift his shield to block Kento's attack, which surprises our hero. He then pushes Kento down and tells him that there's no way he's going to make any impact if he uses such predictable moves. Kento is riled up now, so he tries again, but the trainer blocks him with ease once more and pushes him down. This time, he actually uses a tackle attack to smack our hero to the ground while the other trainees watch on. The trainer then tells the other students that this is how you counter an enemy's attack with your shield. They are then told to begin with the actual training, and this goes on all the way into the night. By the end of it, we can see both Kento and Feria completely drained, but Annabelle looks quite lively. Could be because of her experience, but anyway, Kento tells Feria that from now on, it will be the maid's job. He's actually referring to Feria also behaving like a maid girl, which she does nicely. We see Annabelle and Feria both serving Kento his food, and even bathing him right after, reminding us fellow men of culture that this life is the best life. Kento goes to the bedroom now, hoping to get his freak on, but he can see that both Annabelle and Feria have gone to sleep. He realizes that his maid girls must be really tired, so he allows them to sleep and regain their strength. He too goes to bed, and then we move to the next morning where our hero wakes up to a warm sensation. He does not understand what is going on, so he opens his eyes to see that he is indeed in heaven. Annabelle and Feria have both woken up and are giving him the Hawktua 900, which surprises Kento, but not the viewers of Comic Guzzlers. Now, we move to the forest area where both Millie and Rina have come to fulfill their mission which they had promised to complete in exchange for Feria. Millie has reached the destination, so she tells Rina to wake up now. It's time to get ready to fight the goblins, but they don't know that their lover boy has already lost the battle to his intrusive thoughts with Annabelle and Feria. The shock on his face does not stop Annabella from unleashing the Gluck Cluck 9000. So Kento asks her what she is doing. The slurping and sucking goes on for a while, and Kento really gets into the mood, so he asks her to start using her hands as well. The maid girl does as she is told, and she unleashes her skills to the fullest degree. Our hero finally decides to unleash his elephant water into her mouth, and Annabelle shows us exactly why she is our #1 maid girl. She takes in all the elephant water at once, and Feria is amazed to see this special skill of hers. She asks Annabelle how she is able to drink all this elephant water at the same time, but the maid girl does it like a pro. However, Annabelle is upset with herself because she could not serve her master properly. She fell asleep yesterday without doing any shady things with him, so she feels she messed up. Annabelle tells Kento that she would have done her work properly if he had woken her up, but our hero is not some shameless slave villain. He tells Annabelle that he saw how tired she and Feria were, so it made sense to let them continue sleeping. However, the maid girl maintains that she was instructed strictly to serve Kento at all times, so she cannot let this happen again. Annabelle then turns to Feria and tells her to also comfort her master with her mouth. Feria is a bit nervous to hear this, but Annabelle reminds her that she is our hero's maid. The curvy babe puts her mouth to the test and ensures Kento gets yet another piece of heaven on earth. Annabelle instructs her to move her mouth back and forth once she has taken the elephant in it. She is also told to tangle her tongue, so that her teeth don't get in the way, and these instructions make men of culture all over the world wish for a maid like Annabelle. Kento is told that his elephant is quite big, which is something every man loves to hear. Feria makes a naughty face as she continues with her duties, and Kento teases her by saying he enjoys such expressions. Feria doesn't stop, and she follows Annabelle's instructions to the T, so Kento can feel it coming like the weekend. He tells Feria to use her hands so that he can avoid drowning her mouth with elephant water, but Annabelle tells him that he should punish her for neglecting her work the other day. The senior maid tells our hero that he should just let go, so he tells Feria to calm down and not overdo it. He goes on to unleash the elephant water and is able to provide quite the load to Feria. She says that the elephant water is too bitter for her to drink, so Kento tells her she does not need to swallow. The heavenly session is over now, so it's time to get back to training. With 2 shots already fired, it's possible that our hero is a bit tired and low on testosterone, but the trainer does not care about that. Kento falls to the ground after a training session, and the trainer explains how to twist your hips and your arm on the tip of your fist to make a power move. He asks his students if they get what he means, and then he decides to do another demonstration. As expected, he targets Kento first up with a fist attack, but our hero dodges it quite nicely. He then prepares for his own move, but then gets whacked by the trainer in his stomach. It doesn't stop there, as the trainer continues to smack our hero around, and then he orders Annabelle and Feria to do the same. The girls reluctantly attack their master, but he does not even resist them, because there is no man who does not like being grabbed and held between the thick and curvy legs of cute girls. The smile on Kento's face says it all, and with that, the training session comes to an end as well. We move to the nighttime now, where Annabelle puts on her maid outfit. She wonders how her master is able to control his libido, and this takes her back to what just happened at the bathing room. We are shown that the two maid girls were discussing how to please Kento to their best possible skills. Feria is also in the mood now, as she says that she will definitely make her master proud. She then shows off her curvy body, which is the closest thing to perfection seen in this story. Annabelle feels a bit jealous, because it would be quite obvious for her master to prefer Felia's body to hers. She looks at herself in the mirror and laments how she has an old and poor body, which may make Kento's elephant react differently when compared to Feria or Millie. Of course, the maid girl has no idea that she too has a perfect figure, and then Kento enters the bathing room. He tells them that he has taken the service 1 skill today, so he will service Annabelle first. Annabelle is shocked to hear this because that is supposed to be a skill which can control the libido. The maid girl tells her master he should not be doing such things, and he should just rather focus on letting it all out. Of course, our hero is not going to stop, so he holds Annabelle's chin and brings it closer to his for a lip and tongue appointment. This makes her very excited, especially when Kento grabs her the way Donald Trump advocates. The rubbing makes Annabelle lose control, so she tells her master she will explode any moment now. She says that she will not be able to serve her master properly if she finishes first, but Kento is not going to hear any more excuses. He wants to see his maid girl squirm, and that's exactly what he gets. Annabelle urges her master to take care of himself rather than her, because at this rate, she will explode 3 times in a row. Kento is not going to stop at any cost, and he proceeds to use the finger smash 3000 to make sure Annabelle loses her mind. The maid girl can't hold it in anymore, so she explodes multiple times like a waterfall of shoddiness. It's way too much for her to handle, so she asks her master not to look at her. The dignity of the Black Dagger family's head maid has now been tarnished, although no one else seems to feel that way. Kento even teases Annabelle by telling her she looks really cute when she is experiencing climax. Of course, this makes her blush even further, and she asks Kento to erase that from her memory. He probably wouldn't do it even for $1 million, so Annabelle laments that she is so embarrassed, she wishes to run away. She tells Feria she can't move for a while, so the curvy babe will need to take over. She does as she's told, and then Annabelle watches on as Kento violates Feria as well. It really does look like he's acquired the service skill, as it is not an attribute from the past. Our hero goes on to behave like a man of culture as he caresses Felia's nice, soft pillows. He feels a sense of pressure from them, but the right kind. Annabelle now tells Feria to give her master a pillow job, because she definitely has the equipment for it. She goes on to softly glide his elephant in between her massive pillows, and she also decides to use the Hawk to a 300 on the tip. Annabelle decides to get naughty from behind as she sees Kento reaching his limit, and this is enough to unleash his elephant water. It goes all into Felia's mouth, but our hero is more surprised by Annabella biting his ear. He asks her why she did that, but she says that it was mainly to get him excited and stop holding back. Now, the maid girl asks Feria to show her mouth, and then she proceeds to get her freak on. Basically, Annabelle snatches the elephant water from Felia's mouth and consumes it, which shocks the curvy babe. She asks Annabelle how she was able to do this with something that is so bitter, but she says that it is impolite to spit out what their master has given them. It is good manners to drink elephant water, so Feria says she will try her best the next time. Our hero is impressed by this behavior, and he pats Feria on the head to show his appreciation, although he is a bit worried about letting this power get to his head. It would be better to have more personnel as well for the mansion when Millie comes back, and then we move to the training ground. The idea is to have a mock battle amongst the trainees, and it does not matter if they are men or women. First up is Kento, who is able to take down his opponent rather emphatically. Even he can't believe what he was able to achieve right now, but he gives a hand to his opponent anyway. The opponent is impressed, as he had believed Kento to only play with cute girls. Our hero, however, notices that the speed of the attack, the feint, and the way the shield parries are all too slow. Compared to the instructor, this boy was like a total amateur, so Kento could easily counter him. That's when he realizes what his training was for this whole time, and then he goes on to defeat all his other opponents as well. Next up is Kento against a girl named Aurelia, who is also cute and curvy. Our hero is wearing his glasses, so he can only see a boy, but men of culture can always sense when the pretty kitties are lurking around. The fight begins, and Aurelia launches a direct attack. Kento is able to block her, but his arm feels heaving from the counter. Aurelia gets serious and starts to attack Kento from all angles, leaving him gasping for breath. He clearly did not expect to see such skill from an amateur, but it's not like he is a pro himself. Anyway, Aurelia launches her finisher move and lands a clean strike on our hero. Her wooden sword is able to pierce through his flesh, which causes severe damage. He falls to the ground, causing both Annabella and Feria to rush towards their master. With Kento unable to move, the trainer declares Aurelia to be the winner, and then he mocks our hero for losing so easily. He also tells him that he was lucky to be struck by a wooden sword. If it was a real one, then he would have been in some serious trouble, but the pain is still bad enough for him to begin losing his consciousness. Kento faints in front of his maid girls, and he only wakes up after some time. Kento notices something warm on his side, but this time, it's not a curvy body. Annabelle and Feria are in front of him, and they are both glad to see their master intact. He apologizes for making them worry, especially Feria, who looks very concerned. Now, he notices someone is healing his injuries, and it looks like Rina, but with a cuter vibe. Kento is confused by this, so he asks her how she got back so soon. He also wants to know where Millie is, as she is nowhere to be seen. Anyway, the injury is healed properly, so our hero thanks her for saving him. Kento goes on to hug this girl with affection, but she nervously tells him to let her go. He does not understand this, but he feels that Rina is just trying to be cute and awkward for him. However, that is not the case, as Annabelle explains to Kento that this girl is not Rina. As a matter of fact, it is her twin sister Lana, which is why she is behaving so differently. Our hero is shocked by the uncanny resemblance, and another important thing to note is that he is not wearing his blocking glasses. Kento learns that Lana works at the clinic as a healer girl, and she is also very shy around men. Lana cutely runs towards Annabelle and hides behind her, so the maid girl apologizes to her for letting such a mistake happen in the first place. Lana can't believe that a man hugged her, and she starts crying uncontrollably. The problem for our hero, though, is that he is not wearing his glasses of illusion. This means his skill is going to activate on Lana, even though Kento does not want to use it. Sadly for him, the skill does activate, and it shows that Lana has a bit of dislike towards him. Our hero falls to the ground because his shady adventures will have to continue with Lana as well. Feria tries to calm her master by telling him this was nothing more than an innocent accident. Either way, Kento apologizes to Lana for mistaking her to be Rina. This also makes her conscious, and she cutely shrinks in size, although that just might be for dramatic effect. There's nothing to be done now, so Kento says they might as well discuss this when Millie and Rina are back. The training is over too, so the team heads back to the guild to have them analyze their jobs. Our hero's moment of truth is here, so he places his hand on the magical stone to gain his assessment, and he does happen to gain the warrior combat job at level 1. Thanks to this, his maid girls can also acquire warrior jobs, so it's a huge W for our hero. The trainer shows up to congratulate Kento, and he states that he was quite surprised to see Feria acquire the same job because of her massive pillows. The trainer goes on to take all the credit for Kento's hard work, and our hero is able to identify that he might be a bit under the influence. The trainer now says that he should teach Kento some combat skills, and starts taking names like Flashing Sword and Heavy Impact as if they are Pokemon moves. Kento politely refuses the offer, but we all know he was never going to say yes. As the maid girls chat with each other, our hero checks out his stat bar to figure out what's new. Along with the warrior job, he has also obtained 1 skill point and can increase his stamina as well. Level of sword fighting has been unlocked, as well as level 1 of martial arts. Kento now has a defense skill at level 1 as well, and he also has an identification code now due to his registration as a monster hunter. There are multiple stats on display for all the skills he has gained, so Kento takes a good look at them. He realizes that these powers are great for those who would like to fight as soldiers or become hunters like him. Having said that, he is still lacking points, so he will need to start his solo leveling as if he is Sung Jin Woo. Now, Millie comes back and she calls out to Kento with massive relief and pillows. She sinks his head into her soft abode, so Kento can't really complain about her coming back home. He does warn her that he is coming off training, so he will be reeking of sweat, but Millie likes it dirty, so she enjoys the smell. She even says that it's been 3 days since she smelled him, which is creepy, but fine to men of culture. Rina gets jealous of what she sees, so she tells Kento to get away from her Oni-sama. After all, she worked hard as well, so Kento taps her on the head to congratulate her. Naturally, Rina says this will not be enough for her, which is exactly what our hero wanted to hear. He tells the girls that he is ready to do whatever the girls want, and it makes them alert. Annabella has to interrupt here, because her master needs to tell the others about what happened with Lana. This is right, so Kento sits down with Millie and Rina to tell them how he set his eyes on Lana without realizing it. Naturally, it shocks the girls, especially Rina, who cannot believe her master would try to get shady with her own sister. Kento tells her that it was an honest accident, and he only intended to show his appreciation to her for healing him. Rina still doesn't accept this because if he was wearing his glasses of illusion, then such an issue would never have happened. That's when our hero explains how he lost his glasses after getting knocked out by his opponent Aurelia in the mock battle. Annabella, the maid girl, feels she should have woken up Kento before the healing began, but Feria says that she too is to blame here. Our hero tells Rina once again that he is the one to blame because he genuinely believed that Lana was actually Rina. She still gets upset and tells Kento that he should try hugging her more often. He may have violated Rina, but he hasn't exactly hugged her the way he had hugged Lana. Rina then reveals that Lana must be at home crying out a waterfall because that is what happens when men hug her. To simply get out of that state, it will take Lana at least 1 week, which is rather odd. Our hero can't believe that there is a girl who would hate men so much, but then Rina asks him if he is going to make her sister a member of his harem as well. He says that he only wanted to make this decision after talking to her and Millie, and then he turns to the original curvy babe. Millie tells him that he can do as he pleases because she is his property anyway, and he does not need to think about such things. Kento gets it, and then he asks Rina if she has a problem with him turning Lana into a member. Surprisingly, she says that it would be inevitable for her sister to become a member, but she wants to know how Kento is going to pull this off. After all, Lana is the oldest daughter of the Dorman house, although the difference is only in seconds. Even we would like to know how our hero does this. And will his skills become better than they are now? How about Aurelia? Will she also join Kento's harem? Like, share, and subscribe if you too want to live the life of Lady Killer Lover Boy. Show some love, and I'll continue covering this series as the chapters keep getting released. Okay then, I'll see you in the next